Welcome. This is a short Vinyasa Flow, specifically geared towards opening the hips. I'm Collette Hill. This is DJ Cassandra. We're going to begin in a child's pose today. You can bring your big toes together, widen your knees towards the edges of your mat, sit your hips back onto your heels. Let your elbows be passive for this first one, letting your arms relax into the floor. And maybe even move your forehead a little side to side, releasing your neck. Allow your hips just to sink back really heavy onto your feet so you start to open up through your low back, taking some deep breaths here across your back lungs, expanding through your back ribs. We'll take about 3 more breaths in and out through the nose. And then move up through to tabletop, hands and knees. And as you set yourself up in tabletop, be sure to align your wrists under your shoulders, your knees underneath your hips. Take a breath in for cow pose. Lift your chest, tilt your tailbone upward. On your exhale, take cat, round your spine towards the sky in flexion. Inhale, tilt your tailbone up, reach your chest forward as you lift your chin. On the exhale, curve into your back body, pressing down through your hands. One more time in each direction, breathing in. And on the exhale, rounding into your back. And then neutralize your spine. Just reach the crown of your head forward, your tailbone back. Kick your right leg behind you, flexing through your foot, level your heel with your hip. And then send your left arm forward in front of you, opposite arm and leg extended. Bend your back knee so the sole of your foot faces towards the ceiling. Option to stay there or reach back, grab your foot. Kick against your hand to start to open into your hip flexors, right where your thigh and your torso meet. Lift up through your sternum, take a breath. And then on your exhale, just gently lower your hand and your knee back to the ground. Reach your left leg back, energize your foot to begin with, fire up your whole leg. Reach your right arm forward, and then you can bend your knee. Maybe you keep your arm extended forward or reach back for your foot if you did that on the first side. Press into your hand, charge your shin back, and lift up through the center of your heart. Take a breath, and then release your hand and your knee. Energize your hands like you're trying to pull your thumbs together, meeting underneath your nose. Turn your biceps forward. We'll lift up downward dog. Tuck your toes. Take your knees off the ground. Maybe walk your feet back a little bit. And start to bend one knee at a time. Just shuffle your hips a little side to side so you start to feel your outer hips open up as well as the back of your legs, your hamstrings and your calves. And then we'll start to find stillness in downward facing dog. And the energy is moving up through the hands, through to your tailbone, and then rooting from your sits bones back towards your heels. Inhale, lengthen your right leg into the sky. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose and round your back like cat pose. Kick your leg behind you, take a breath. One more time, bring your knee to your nose, and then cross your right ankle on your left thigh for a figure 4 in your down dog. You can always walk your hands a little closer back towards your back foot. Pressing into your thigh, feel your right leg start to spin back externally. We'll shift into a plank, both feet on the floor. Stack your shoulders over your wrists. Find a little more lift through your core as your front ribs pull up and in. Shift to your tiptoes, lower all the way down to your belly, bending your elbows back. Low cobra, flip your toes towards the back of the mat. Roll your shoulders back, pull your elbows to your outer ankles. Lower your chest down, downward facing dog. Take your left leg back in the sky, breathe in. On your exhale, bring your knee up to your nose, lift through your belly, round your back. Kick your leg behind you, take a breath. Bring your knee to your nose, and then once again, figure 4, cross your ankle onto your right thigh. Wrap your left outer hip back, and you can always walk your hands back if that gives you a little more stability. One more breath. We'll shift back into plank. Line up your arms in 2 straight columns, shoulders to wrist. Shift forward to your tiptoes, maybe lower halfway or all the way. Cobra or up dog, lifting your thighs, knees, and shins off the ground, heart forward. Nice. Exhale, downward facing dog. Lift your hips back. Walk your feet forward to your hands. We'll come into Uttanasana, forward fold at the top of the mat. And you're absolutely welcome to bend your knees here. If you have blocks, you can put your hands on blocks or grab a hold of your elbows and just sway a little bit side to side, moving your torso, shaking out your head if you'd like. Let your arms just drop down towards the ground and roll up to standing nice and slow. Keep a little softness in the knees as you come up. We'll bring the palms together in front of the heart, just pausing for a few breaths in Tadasana. Ground down through your heel, your big toe ball mound and little toe ball mound on each foot like little tripods supporting you. Take a breath in, reach overhead, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, forward fold. You can bend your knees if that helps you to fold into this. Halfway lift, breathe in, heart and head forward. Chaturanga, high plank to low, bending your elbows right alongside your waist. Push the floor down, lift your chest, roll your shoulders back. Exhale, downward facing dog, hips towards the sky. Take a breath in, reach your right leg into the air behind you. On the exhale, bring your knee to your nose and step your foot between your thumbs. Line up your knee over your ankle. Turn your back heel down for warrior two. Align your heel to the arch of your back foot. And as you lift up, stack your shoulders right over your hip bones. Hug your legs in towards each other, but extend energy out through your fingertips. Turn your right palm face up to the sky, peaceful warrior. As you go up and back, keep wrapping your outer knee and your outer hip back so you feel a stretch forward through your inner thigh. Side angle, you can bring your right forearm on your thigh if you're feeling ready for it, maybe right hand on the ground. Take your left arm overhead, stretching towards the top edge of your mat, and turn your chest more towards the sky. Lower your hands to frame your foot, runner's lunge. Plank pose, you have the option for a vinyasa here. You can go right into downward dog, so listening to where your body's at today. In your down dog, be sure your thumb and your pointer finger are grounded on the floor. Inhale, lift your left leg into the sky. Bring your knee up to your nose to step between your hands, warrior two. Turn your back heel onto the ground. Finding that heel to arch alignment, almost like you're on a tightrope. Track your front knee right above your ankle and even aim your knee more towards your second or third toe. Reach your left palm face up for your peaceful warrior. Go up and back. Take a few breaths here. Stay nice and low in the lunge, really working your leg. Breathe in. Side angle, maybe forearm on the thigh. If you have a block, you could put your hand on your block. And there's a rotation here, like you're turning your chest away from your thigh up towards the ceiling. Runner's lunge, frame your foot. We'll go into plank and then optional vinyasa, maybe right into down dog, you choose. As you arrive in your down dog, maybe close your eyes, just tuning into your breath. Inhale, lift your right leg in the sky. Exhale, bring your knee to your nose, step between your hands, warrior two, dial your back heel down. Inhale, peaceful warrior, reach your right arm up and back. Exhale, side angle. Inhale, peaceful, reach up and back. And then straighten your right leg this time. We'll move into triangle pose. Reach your right hand out past your toes. Take your right hand down to 6 o'clock, left arm up towards 12. And your arms are an extension of your chest, so align your wrists, turn your heart upward towards your lifted hand. Nice. Runner's lunge, frame your front foot with your hands. Lower your left knee to the ground this time, half splits. Shift your hips back. Stretching through your hamstring, your toes can flex up towards your foot. You can also point your toes forward, stretching through your ankle, but lengthen your chest a little more towards your toes for another breath. Good, we'll come into a standing splits. Bend your right knee, push firmly down into that tripod of your right foot. And as you lift your left leg into the sky, think about lifting from the very center of your hamstring. We'll take a curtsy here. Bring your left knee behind your right. Bend both knees and wing your arms back behind you like a cape by your side. Roll your shoulders back. Push firm into your right foot, one leg mountain pose. Lift your left knee up, find your balance. And we'll take a figure four chair. So again, we're placing the ankle to the thigh. You can bend your standing leg like you're sitting into a low chair. You can keep your hands at your heart. Maybe you bring your elbows to your shins, or even fingers to the floor as an option, depending on how much hip opening you're feeling ready for. Just take a few breaths, noticing any tension that you're coming up against, that you're breathing through it. Good, we'll take a forward fold, both feet onto the floor. Halfway lift up, stretch through your chest, through the crown of your head. Vinyasa your way. Lift your left leg back, breathe in. Bring your knee towards your nose, step between your hands. Take your warrior two, Virabhadrasana 2. Inhale, peaceful warrior, left arm up. Side angle, left forearm to your thigh, maybe your hand to the earth. Inhale, peaceful, go for that big reach up and back again. Straighten your front leg, Utthita Trikonasana. Reach towards the top edge of your mat. Lower your left hand, find a block if you'd like. Instead of locking out your left knee, a little micro bend as you push more into the big toe ball mount. Take a breath, turn your chest upward. Runner's lunge, frame your left foot, lower your right knee down. Half splits, our hamstring opening stretch. Again, you can choose what you want to do with your foot, maybe play with both. Keep your shoulders drawing down away from your ears, a long line of energy from your chest to your toes. Breathe in. Standing splits, root down your foot, kick back through your right leg like you're kicking into the wall behind you, and lift the belly of the hamstring up. Curtsy, right knee behind your left, wings back so there's a sense of cobra in the chest, opening through your collarbone. One leg mountain, press down into your left foot, lift your right knee up, find your balance. Take your figure four chair. You can use your hand if you'd like to place your ankle on your thigh. Keep your toes spread out as your hips draw down, heart forward, and then you can choose. If your hands want to get a little closer to the ground, it's going to be a little deeper hip opener. We'll take a breath. Forward fold. Halfway lift, nice open chest, long line of the spine. Chaturanga Dandasana. Keep your core engaged as you lower so you're resisting gravity. Inhale to sweep your heart forward, and on your exhale, draw your hips back. Just take a few breaths, noticing what's opening up, how you're feeling in your hips, how you're feeling in your low back. We're gonna build a little bit on that. Inhale your right leg to the sky. Exhale, step your foot forward between your hands. Warrior two, anchor your back heel. Right away, peaceful on the breath in. Side angle, Parshva Konasana on your breath out. Like a wave, back into peaceful, breathe in. Straighten your front leg without locking your knee, triangle pose, reaching towards the front of the mat. Anchoring firm into your foot, we'll move into a half moon from here. You can look past your right toes, send your right fingers towards the floor. As you stand strong in your right leg, float your left leg up. Energize your toes and notice that your leg is reaching out from your hip socket. We're gonna end up facing back to the front of the mat in a curtsy. Take your left knee behind your right, get nice and low and buoyant, and then rise up one leg mountain pose. Into your figure four in your chair, ankle on your thigh, rotating your left thigh outward away from your midline. Your hands again might lower down. Take a breath. And then we'll come into a standing forward fold. Separate your feet 2 fist distance. Grab a hold of your big toes with your peace fingers so that your palms face each other. Inhale, lengthen your chest forward. Exhale to fold in. Your elbows can bend either back to the back of the mat or even out to your side walls. And then just start to lift the shoulders away from the ears, creating a little work in your upper back. Good, release your toes, halfway lift, breathe in, Ardha Uttanasana, Chaturanga, elbows bending right alongside your waist as you lower. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, upward facing dog. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take your left leg back, breathe in. Step your left foot forward. Warrior two pose, rising up. Inhale, peaceful, left arm in the sky, staying low in the front leg, side angle pose. Again, there's that wave quality, peaceful as you go up and back. straighten your front leg, triangle pose. As you lengthen, feel your ribs pull away from your waistline. Keep your toes pointing towards the short edge of your mat as you move into half moon, Ardha Chandrasana. You can bend your knees, scoot your fingers a little bit past. Maintain length in your side waist, pull your ribs out of the hip. Take a breath. Curtsy your right knee behind your left. Your wings can go back so you get that broad chest. One leg mountain pose. Just as a transition into the figure 4 chair. Nice and low. Getting that hip opening, the external rotation in the leg. Forward fold. Bring your feet a little further than hips width. Turn your heels in and your toes out. We'll take Malasana, yogi squat. So hips low. If you have a block, you might put it underneath your hips here. Otherwise, just hovering above the ground. You can use your elbows to gently press your inner thighs a little bit into a stretch, but also see if you can recruit your outer hips to widen the knees slightly. Just take a deep breath in. On your exhale, forward fold. You can lift your hips up. Bring your feet a little closer together. Halfway lift, inhale. Your vinyasa. These vinyasas are really on you to decide if that's what's going to serve your practice. If you need to conserve a little energy, you can always go right into down dog. Inhale, lift your right leg to the sky. Pigeon pose. Bring your right shin forward across the front of the mat. We've been working on this external rotation so your thigh turns outward so that your knee winds up more by your right wrist. From there, you can fold forward over your shin. If you're wanting more of a hip flexor stretch, you can also stay up on your fingertips, really up to you. And this is a nice place to just give yourself time to breathe. Notice if your shoulders tend to get tight here. You want to think of your shoulders just softening down away from your ears so you're relaxed around your traps and your neck. We'll take another 3 deep breaths, just gently in through the nose and out through the nose. When you feel complete in that third exhale, we'll go back through to down dog. Another option if you want to take your vinyasa kind of like a rinse cycle, or maybe you go through child's pose on your way. It's really up to you. Come back to downward facing dog. You'll lift your left leg in the sky, breath in. Pigeon pose, again, turning the thigh out so your knee's by your wrist. Your shin is crossing in front of you. Lifting your belly up and over your shin if you're going into the nested pigeon, the forward fold. Again, maybe it feels right to stay upright. So really customizing the practice so that it serves what your body is needing. Starting to find that soothing energy of cooling things down. Maybe noticing the breath lasting just a little bit longer. Take another breath in. Release the breath out. Downward facing dog. One final vinyasa if you want to take it. From your final downward facing dog, you'll transition into a seat. On your ready, as you come into your seat, and bring the soles of your feet together. You can just rock around a little bit. So deciding if you need a little more inner thigh stretch, you'll bring your heels closer to you. If you're wanting to target your outer hips a little more, feet a little further forward like a diamond. Reach your chest up, and then reach your chest forward to fold over your feet. If you have your block handy, you might put your block between the arches of your feet and your forehead. On this one, it's okay to let your shoulders round in. It's targeting a little more into the fascia, into the tissue in the upper back. So you can let your shoulders give into gravity. And then use your breath to expand the space at the back of your heart, like you're filling up a balloon. Take another breath deep into the back of your heart. Enjoy your exhale right here. And then stack your spine one bone at a time. As you come up to a nice tall spine, you can close your knees like a book and lie down onto your back. Get into those hips one more time with a happy baby. You can grab for the edges of your feet with your hands. You could hold around your big toes. If you're noticing your low back's lifting away from the ground, you might hold on to your outer shins instead, or the back of your thighs. Just letting your knees start to sink down right around the sides of your ribs. Deep breath in. Open mouth, let something release. And then we'll set up for our Shavasana, our resting place. So your legs can extend out on your mat, maybe separating your heels a little bit from the middle of the mat. Arms by the side, shoulders rolling back. Closing your eyes, giving yourself as much time as you need to rest here in Shavasana. Thank you so much for joining us today.